Is the metaverse dead? That's what we're going to find out today in my latest intel report looking at the largest crypto-based metaverse out there and if it's going to be able to make a recovery or if it's dead in the water. It's mission time. Welcome back, agents. Secret Agent Stash here. We are at GIA headquarters and we have a special mission brief for you today. We are going to be talking about the metaverse and in particular the Sandbox. This is one of the largest crypto metaverses out there by market cap, by many things, and I have been a big proponent of the Sandbox for a long time, but a lot of people have told me, Stash, the Sandbox is dead. The metaverse is over. It's done. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but today we are going to take a look and an in-depth look at the Sandbox and give you a price prediction on where I think the Sandbox token is going to be here in this next bull run, and if it's going to be able to survive and get back to the levels that we've seen previously. Now, we're going to take a look at this in three different categories. We're going to be talking fundamentals, we're going to be talking technical analysis, and then we're going to go into speculation. These are the three pillars of crypto investing in general. So let's kick it off here with fundamentals and talk a little bit about the Sandbox and what they have going for them and then what they kind of have against them currently right now. Okay, so here we are at the Sandbox website, and this is the map. This shows you all of the different people who have invested, who are wanting to build or do some sort of experience inside the Sandbox, and the amount of space for building inside the Sandbox is limited. There are only a certain number of plots, and you can see here the map is pretty full at this point and pretty much well sold. There are some areas that we haven't got to yet, but those are for upcoming sales. As you can tell, one of the biggest things that I think the Sandbox has going for them when it comes to fundamentals is their partnerships. They have massive partnerships across multiple industries that don't just pertain here to companies in the US, but are very globally focused. To me, that's a really big bullish sign, and this kind of mirrors what we see with some other large-scale metaverse type platforms out there. Now, if we look at this map, you can see some that you may recognize right away. They have a very large list, I said, of these different sponsors or these different partnerships here. Snoop Dogg, Paris Hilton, Steve Aoki, Gucci, Ubisoft, Deadmau5, Avenged Sevenfold, The Walking Dead, Tony Hawk, Playboy, Lionsgate Entertainment, Doctor Who. I mean, I could keep going on and on. The list is exhaustive, and their partnerships have been key to keeping the Sandbox at the top of my list when it comes to metaverses. Now, this is something you see similar to other large metaverse style games that we're seeing here, even if they don't want to call them metaverses, in things like Fortnite and Roblox, which we're going to talk about here in just a second. So I think partnerships are a really big part of the fundamentals here of the Sandbox. Now, this goes into addition when you talk about fundamentals of they have a very solid and experienced team. They're backed and partnered with Animoca, who has done some amazing things in the Web3 and gaming spaces in general. They have previously, well thought out games and games that have garnered a lot of users. So we say, oh, can they get to that point? Well, yeah, they already have done this with the previous The Sandbox game, or just The Sandbox. So when we look at some of those things, partnerships I think are huge. Now, the next thing I think that is really big here is what I call the era of UGC. And UGC stands for User Generated Content. And that's exactly what the Sandbox is. It is a platform for users to generate their own content, their own games and experiences. And we've seen a huge rise in this over the course of just the last year. In particular, we've seen Fortnite come out with their brand new UEFN, which is Unreal Engine for Fortnite, right? This is a Unreal Engine specific creator for Fortnite that allows you to use all the assets in Fortnite to make your own free cool little games. And you can see tons and tons of people have already jumped on this. I mean, there are thousands of experiences that people have created using Fortnite creative assets. And the list just goes on, it's exhaustive. I mean, there's pages and pages of these things. There's an only up Fortnite edition. If you guys have seen that latest game, there's been a craze on Twitch and YouTube, only up. They have one in Fortnite. So, I mean, we see tons of games being ported over to this and people being incredibly creative. And so UGC has been a big driver in games in general, but I think we're really starting to see the gaming industry adopt it right now. In addition, of course, the guy at the top of the list The gamer at the top of the list has always been Roblox. Roblox has been the #1 UGC kind of platform here. I guess we could probably throw Minecraft in there as well, but Roblox has done it really well in being able to create standalone experiences in games. And these games are not super graphic intensive. Now they can be, but some of the most popular games aren't. Adopt Me, which has been one of the top games on Roblox for years, is very blocky. As you can see, they look almost like little Lego characters. Murder Mystery 2, Slap Battles. I mean, there's so many here. There's so many that are very basic and fun, but it's all about the fact that you can hang with your friends. It's very socially focused, and the Sandbox does this really well too. They have their own game maker, which it gives you the ability to create your own games and your own experiences. And the big thing about this is that there's no coding required. That's a collar popper right there. This is big because when it comes to Roblox, you actually have to know scripting to really create a good game with Roblox. And same thing when you talk about Unreal Engine as well. But with the game maker here for Sandbox, it's no coding required. It's a no code solution, which I love. And in addition to that, for these other assets, UEFN for Fortnite, you have to use the Fortnite assets, otherwise you have to create your own. Same thing with Roblox, you have to know something like Blender or some of the 3D program. Well, the Sandbox has their Vox Edit program, and that allows you to create Vox models directly for the game that are going to be easy to port over into your game maker. So it's an all-in-one solution that makes it stupid simple for anybody of any age to create on their platform. UGC and the area of UGC is here, and the Sandbox is really pushing the envelope, even though people may not be noticing that as being one of the large parts of what they're doing. Now, when we talk about some of the things, the fundamental parts here that are kind of working against them, we just recently saw that the Sandbox token was labeled in the SEC's lawsuit here against Binance and Coinbase, right, in particular. And so, my good buddy here, Sebastian Bourget, he did, obviously address this and, says that, hey, the Sandbox token has been named, but there's been no actual charges against the Sandbox directly. All this is revolving around Binance. And we all know that this is a witch hunt. We've seen Gary Gensler try and go after these companies, and it has been an epic fail on his part. He is going to be tossed out of the SEC here pretty soon. I'm very confident in that. You can mark my words on that. And there is going to be some big overhaul at the SEC here over the next year or two. So I don't think this changes anything for the Sandbox. And in particular, we talk about, okay, well, yeah, the SEC says something, but what about the rest of the world? The Sandbox is a global metaverse. It's not just focused here in the United States, and as a matter of fact, it's not headquartered, and it didn't really start here in the U.S. Bourget, Sebastian says that only about 1/3 of its users are from the U.S. So the bulk of the people playing the Sandbox are outside of the U.S., which I think is actually a bullish fundamental. It shows that there is good market penetration across all the different verticals that we want in a global metaverse, right? So I think that's a pretty important thing to take in consideration. And, as much as this does put a little bit of a damper, I don't think it's really going to materialize in anything here in the near future for the Sandbox. Okay, now that we've talked a little about the fundamentals and I think the things that are incredibly important about the Sandbox, let's go take a look at the technical analysis, the technicals of the actual token, the Sand token here. So we can kind of get on with our price prediction of where we think Sand is going to be here in the next bull run. So this is the maxed out chart for the Sand token. The token launched, in the end of 2020, right? We can see, August or so of 2020 is when the Sand token launched. It's only seen one bull market so far. And it just so happens that this bull market was very much driven by the metaverse theming of Meta, being rebranded, Facebook rebranded to Meta. And there was this whole metaverse narrative that really did help to drive the price to insane levels. As you guys can see here, it hit about a high, all-time high of about $8.36, $8.30, and with a market cap of about $6.68 billion. Now that was all with this hype around the very top of our last bull market. Now today, we're seeing the price sitting around 40-ish cents, right? About 40 cents. with a market cap of only about $724 million. So that's a significant loss of market cap over the top of the bull market, which was a little over a year. It's been a little over a year or so, to a couple of years now. I guess maybe it's about almost 2 years. We're getting there. And they've lost about $3 billion, or about $6 billion on that market cap, right? Now we got to look at a couple of factors here, and whether we think that this token can get back to all-time highs and what that's going to take. Now we know the math here is basically taking the market cap, right, and then you take the circulating supply, the actual amount of tokens that are out right now, and you divide those things, right, to be able to get what we think could be the price here. So if we do that for what we have right now, we're talking about a market cap about 724 million at a price of 40 cents, right? What do we need? What does that look like, right? When we have a supply right now of about 1.85 billion, right? That's about how many. As you can see here, it's a little bit. It's 1.69, right? So at this circulating supply, the price here is kind of reflective of where we're at in the market. But what we have to take in consideration is the difference in supply when there was this big run up, and then the difference in the supply of what it will be around the next bull run. Now, the total supply for this token is 3 billion. So we're almost, we're a little over half of the supply already, already out in the wild, but we still have a good amount to go. Now, if we look at the next bull run being somewhere in 2024 to 2025, around that time is when the full supply for this token will be out. We really want to think about this and talk about it in a fully diluted market cap, which means all the tokens are in circulating supply. A lot of tokens are not in that case, and this is something you need to really take in consideration when you're investing into a token, because it's going to keep inflating over time, and you're going to think, hey, is it going to hit all-time highs? It may not, because there's been too much inflation from the time it hit all-time high to the time that all the tokens are out and we're looking at a new bull run. So if we take that and we do the math, at a fully diluted market cap of 3 billion tokens in circulating supply, if we just got back to the same market cap what they were at the last bull run, we had the all-time highs of about $6.7 billion, right? You would be looking at a SAND token that sits around $2.20. Now that is a significant decline from the $8.36 that we saw at their all-time high in November of 2021. But you got to look at it like this. This is still a 500% increase from where it's at right now at 40 cents. So would this be a good buy if you're picking it up right now and it did get back to that, right? Back to that same market cap that it had here in 2021 of about, $6.7 billion at about $8.36, right? So if it got back to that market cap and it was fully diluted at the time that it did, we'd be looking at about $2.20, right? A 500%-ish increase, which is I would say, is a really good investment. It's a 5x. No one can sneeze at a 5x, right? Now, if you want to look at what will it take for it to get back to that all-time high, that $8.36, well, what that's going to mean is it's going to need to have a market cap of about $25 billion. Now that is pretty significant, and when you look at the coins right now that hold about $25 billion, it's only coins that are in the top 10 of market cap overall. Now, when we look at that, what it was in a bull run, it does, that does, kind of give us a little bit of a better pool to pull from, but it is not an easy thing to achieve. Now, with this next bull run, I think we're going to see a lot more money coming in, and we're going to be getting a lot more inflation of these numbers. And so, with that potential 25 billion, is there a chance that it can get back there? We know the numbers don't really necessarily support that. I mean, that is a pretty big increase in market cap, but is it possible? Well, let's take a little bit of look and speculate on this for just 1 second and compare some other tokens and other stocks that may give us a little bit of insight here. So like I said before, the SAND token has only seen one bull market. Now, a token that is very similar in price and in structure and in everything they're doing is Decentraland. DCL has been around since before the 2017 bull run, and we've seen some multiple run-ups with this token, right? So it's been here for 2 full cycles. So if you look at the chart right here, you see, okay, where is that? Well, here we are in 2021, November, just like Sandbox. It hit all-time highs, crazy inflated prices. And you look at it, man, it looked like it was flat all the way until then. But what you don't think is, what you don't really see is you got to zoom in a little bit here when you're talking about this in particular, right? So if we zoom in, let me refresh here just a second. So if you zoom in on this max chart and we just look at this 1 year, right? So previously it looks very similar. If we had a little bit of a run up, this looks similar to the entire chart here, right? Crazy all-time highs, and then started bleeding out over the next year or so. And we can see it looks very similar, right? Big run up and right back down. So when you talk about, you know, similarities, this I think is a cycle we're going to continue to see, right? And then it just gets bigger as it goes, right? And we've seen this with Bitcoin as well. So will this next run up look like this, like exactly like this, but just even bigger? It's possible. It's very possible. You know, like I said, we talk about fundamentals, we talk about technical analysis, but pure hype and speculation are the other pillar of the three pillars that I say would make up crypto investing. So I do think that, you know, if you take speculation into account, which, you know, we want to do here in some limited capacity, I do think that we could get to a, maybe not an all-time high, maybe not back to 25 billion market cap, but I think we could maybe even possibly get, you know, closer to that than just a $2.20 sand at a fully vested or fully diluted market cap. Now, in comparison, we talked about Roblox earlier, which is a publicly traded corporation, and you can see if you max out the chart, it looks kind of similar. Roblox went public in 2021, and they had a huge run up in the same exact month that every other crypto project that is Metaverse focused did as well, because this is when we had that big Metaverse hype. And then what happened? The exact same thing. They bled out and dumped over the next year or two. And you can see now we're down at this price. Now, Roblox is only down 41% versus the 95% that all the other crypto-based Metaverse tokens are down. But then you look at this and where are we at right now, right? Well, we're at a very low point, and the market cap for Roblox is what? $25 billion. That's at its low. So when we talk about where it was at here at its high, I mean, this is a huge change. It's a huge change, right? So do I think that there's a possibility that Sand could get to a $25 billion market cap? The answer is I do. It may not happen in this next bull run, but I do think that Sand is going to get to higher than $2.20. My prediction for Sand, taking all three of these pillars into consideration, is that I think we'll see a Sand that's going to be sitting anywhere between $4.50 and $5, almost to the $6 range. I don't know that we're going to get all the way back to that $8 range, but I do think that we can get into the $5 range with all of those three things firing on all cylinders. Now, this does obviously have, you know, some sort of caveat here when it comes to regulation. We don't know what's going to happen as far as regulation over the next 2 years. So all we can really do is speculate. We have the technical analysis, we have the fundamentals, and then the speculation is the other kind of key component here. So my prediction is in the $5 to $6 range for Sand in this next bull run, which we do know it mathematically is going to happen sometime after the halving, the Bitcoin halving, in 2024. Right now, I believe it's slated to be having in about May, and usually we see a little bit of a hype before that, but then a little bleed out, and then really it starts to take effect about a year or so after the halving, because it takes a little while for that supply shortage squeeze to really start making its way into altcoins, right? That's something we have to take in consideration. And by that time, Sandbox will be fully diluted. Its market cap will be $3 billion. And we'll start to see no more coins being put out into the system, and so we can really get a good idea of where this token is going to go in the long term. But I am still bullish on Sand. I'm still bullish on the team and everything they're building here, but I don't know that we're going to be able to get back to that full all-time high in the next bull run. I would love for that to be the case, but I would say a conservative play would definitely be somewhere in the $5 range for me personally. We do know that the technical analysis says about 220, so we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think about the Sand token and the future of the Sandbox. If you agree, or if you think there's something I missed, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. That's all we have for today, agents. As always, this briefing never happened. Secret Agent Stash, over and out.
Secret Agent Stash. Secret Agent Stash. Oh!